Hey there, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. I have some fun crafts coming your way. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Every time. Today we'll be working on DIY Winter Home Decor Crafts, a couple of dupes for you. So let's get started with project number 1. For this first project, we're going to make this snowman. It came from Pottery Barn and the clearance price is $54.99. We can do better than that. So what we're going to need to get started is I have a 3-page free printable for you. The link will be down in my description box to my blog. For the bottom of the snowman, you'll start with this one. You'll cut it out and you're going to tape it together at the dash lines. So you have like one long, narrow eyeball. All right, you'll cut 7 of those out of your fabric. And then for the top of our snowman, you'll cut 5 of these. Cut your pattern out, cut 5 for the head. And then for the hat is the remaining 3 pieces here. The brim, you're going to cut 2 pieces. And then the top of the hat and then the bottom of the hat, you're going to cut 1 of each. All right. Again, link will be in my description box to my blog to print this out. It's a PDF format. So for my snowman, I found the Sherpa material on sale, Joann's.com. I think when I got it, it was like $5.99 a yard, maybe $8.99 a yard. I will have links down below for you in the description box to Joann's, but I know you can find this in like Walmart too. I'm going to use white and a little bit of black. And you don't have to use Sherpa if you don't want. You can use like a fleece if you want. But I love the Sherpa material. It's really soft and flexible, has a little stretch to it, and it's perfect for this snowman. All right, so we're working with this snowman body. I cut 7 off camera, 7 of these pieces, all right? And then for the head, I cut 5 of these off camera for you to see. Here we go. Lost my train of thought for a minute. 5 of those. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut out what I need for the hat. Again, 2 pieces for the brim and then 1 each of the other 2 pieces. And I'm pretty much, here comes Bella, I'm pretty much really trying to stick to what this snowman is made out of and everything. I do change up the colors on the scarf, of course, but I'm trying to keep it right to it what it is. All right, so here's my pieces, 1 of the other, 2 of this. All right, so let's take to work on the snowman. So what you're going to do, you can glue. Oh, I wanted to show you here. If you wanted to use just a real soft fleece, that would work wonderful too instead of the Sherpa material, okay? You can glue the Sherpa fine with like this Beacon Fabri-Tac glue. It works perfectly wonderful because I did a lot of gluing for the hat and gluing, you know, the pieces of the snowman together and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is start with 2 long pieces. You're going to leave about 1 inch at the top. You're going to start down one side. You're going to leave about 1 inch at the top, and you're going to glue from about 1 inch down all the way along one side to the very tip of the other, okay? Just like that. So again, from the top, about 1 inch down, glue or sew along that edge. And for the top, it doesn't matter. We're going to be leaving our end open, and especially on the head, it doesn't matter if the both ends are open a little bit because that's going to get covered. But the bottom of the snowman, try and get to the very edge and make sure your edges are sealed because there's nothing going to be covering that up, okay? So here I am just sewing along one edge. I probably got about a 1/2 inch or maybe a 1/4 inch seam allowance here. Just show you a little bit of sewing along the way. It's all pretty much the same thing. All right, so here's what this looks like. I can see I've got 1 inch open here, and this is what it looks like from the pretty side. So we're going to, and it's going to sit up really tall. That's why I made a really long shape. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing coming along, and then we're going to attach the next piece. We're going to do the same procedure like we just did, about 1 inch down. Glue or sew along that edge, and then once you get that, making sure that edge is good, you're going to flip it over, right sides together, pretty sides together, and you're going to do the same thing until you've done all 7 pieces, okay? I'll do those all off camera. So here I am with all 7 pieces here, and so the last thing you want to do, obviously, is just take those 2 open edges. You can see where I've got my areas open there, and these are sewed all the way to the end, and just go ahead and put those 2 pieces together. So when you're done, you have this really tall, long kind of ball shape, all right? So I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and sew it closed. And I will show you an option if you don't want to do it this way. If you want to do it the easy way, I will show you that quick option here coming up soon. Once you're done, go ahead and turn your gigantic snowman body so it's right side out. The pretty side is out. All right, looks like this. The bottom's all good and together. Perfect. Now we're going to move to the head, and we're basically going to do the same thing. 5 pieces. All right, and we're going to do the same procedure. 2 together. You're going to leave a little opening at the top, about 1 inch down, and glue or sew down one end down to the bottom. Now, like I said before on the head, it doesn't matter if you don't get the head completely closed there, because one end glues on the body and the other end is going to be covered by the hat. So if you have a little opening at the bottom of the head, that is perfectly fine. It will get hidden. But the snowman body, we want it closed. Now, if you need to on the snowman body, while it is inside out, if you find it still open a little bit, you can take a couple stitches at the bottom to make sure that gets closed before you turn it right side out. So here, my head is all sewn just like we did the body, and we're turning it right side out here. Okay, and then, of course, what we'll start doing is stuffing it here in just a minute. But before we get to that, if you don't want to do it like I'm doing it and you just want to cut 2 big circles and do like we did all our fall pumpkins, bottom circle, I would probably go about 22 to 24 inches in diameter, and then probably about 12 inches for the top circle. And then you're just going to take needle and thread, and you're going to do a running stitch all the way around each edge. Now, if you don't understand this, or you're a gluer and you don't understand running stitch, I'll have a link down in my description box. It takes you to my blog, and it shows you some stitches on a video, okay? So you do the running stitch all the way out, okay? So you've got like a nice little ball shape there, and then you'll stuff it. And I'm just going to do a little bit of stuffing here. You probably want to stuff it nice and tight, and then pull your thing closed so you have like this ball shape. Okay, now, if you do it this route, it's not going to be as tall as the snowman that we are doing because of how I made my pattern. You're going to have kind of a cute, shorter, fatter, plumpier pumpkin than a fatter, tall pumpkin. But either way works, okay? So I'll just do a little bit more stuffing here, and then I'll get the rest done off camera. And in this next frame, miraculously, both of my pieces are stuffed, and stuff it as tight as you want it. And I've kind of flattened the body down a little bit so that our head can sit nice and flat on top. This is what that'll look like, okay? And yeah, I know my head is quite a bit smaller than my body because that's the way I wanted it. So for the hat, all right, we're going to take the brim piece. It's 2 pieces. You're going to put right side together. You're either going to glue around the edge, leaving a little opening, couple fingers opening to turn your fabric right side out, or you're going to sew the 2 pieces together, of course. Same concept, sew around the edge. I'm about 1/4 inch here for the seam allowance, and then just leave, 1 inch or 2, just enough opening to turn the fabric pretty side out. And I know it's going to be a little hard to see on camera with black fabric. We'll do the best we can. Once you got it glued or sewn, go ahead and turn it pretty side out. Right? Now, I'm going to add a little stuffing in mine. You don't have to. In the end, and I mean, I just barely added any, but in the end, I almost wish I didn't, so it would lay a little flatter and not so plump, so you can choose, but it's still cute. All right, once I get as much stuffing in it, I'm going to set it aside. I'll glue it later. Now we're going to move to the hat part. This is bigger than it needs to be. It's probably about 2 inches bigger than it needs to be, but when I give you a free pattern, I'd rather you have more than not enough. So if you're a sewer, you're going to actually probably put both pieces, fold your piece together, right sides together, and you're probably going to come in about 1 inch, and you're going to sew that down. All right? If you're a gluer, you're going to fold it over and like overlap it and to put your top on, okay? You're going to fold it over and overlap it and then glue your top on, whereas us as sewers, we're going to put the 2 edges together and sew down it. So here's mine sewn, and now I'm going to add the top and just sew around the edge right along that seam, right at the very tip top. I probably go in about 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to sew it all the way down around. I like to sew from the outside. You can sew however you want. Gluers, you're sitting here waiting because you've folded your rectangle piece together, fold it over enough. You're going to have to fold it over enough first to make sure you have just the right size circle at the top to fit that little small circle when you glue it down. Do you know what I'm saying? You don't want any gaps, so make sure you fold it over enough that it's the perfect size opening to glue down your little piece. Once it's all done, before we turn it out, I'm going to do just about 1 inch apart some little slits, and then I'm going to turn it right side out and add some stuffing inside. Okay, fluff it out a little bit. And we're doing slits so that we can fold those inward and just kind of glue them down to the stuffing. All right, like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just add some glue right around those areas where I made a slit. And those slits are probably about an inch, well, maybe half inch to 3/4 inch in. And then I'm just gluing it down, like I said, to the stuffing. It doesn't have to be closed. We're going to hide that. Holding it so the glue sets up a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue that opening closed on my hat. And now I'm going to add a bunch of glue on the raw, ugly end here of our top portion, and we're going to glue it down to the center of our brim. Okay? And then I'm going to smush it down flat here and hold it for a couple of minutes. Now for the fabric, I'm going to use 2 kinds of fleece here. You can use 1 if you want. I'm going to use 2 because I want to make it double-sided. Okay? And the fabric I'm using here, keep in mind, if you want to follow me, like this plaid fabric for sure, I'm actually going to be using it probably in the next video or the one after that. I haven't decided yet. We're going to make 2 more pieces that actually go with the snowman to make it a trio. So keep that in mind as you choose your fabrics. So you might want to make sure you have enough for that rest of the other projects we're doing. And I know I didn't do it in today's video because anticipation is fun. Let's split it up a little bit. So I've got my 2 fabrics cut. If you want to do like a double layer or reverse scarf, so to speak, it's 4 inches wide, 36 inches long. I'm laying right sides together. All right, and what we're going to do is we want to leave both ends open because I want to cut like the little slits in the scarf, you know, on both ends just to make it cute, and we'll tie those together. But if you're a gluer or sewer, you're going to glue down each long side of your fabric, leaving about 2 inches at each end with no glue, okay, or no sewing. So gluing all the way down, leaving about 2 inches open at each end. Okay, so here I am going all the way down with the sewing machine. And then here in just a minute, you'll see me stop about 2 inches before the edge. So gluers or sewers, you're going to stop 2 inches before each edge. And now I'm coming down the other side. And I'll show you what it looks like, of course, when it's done. So you can see you've got a 2-inch gap that there's no sewing or gluing on each end. Okay, coming down to finish this one. Okay, and then once you get it glued or sewn, go ahead and turn it right side out. Okay, it's going to take a little bit trying to get this long tube out, and then I will freeze frame it here in just a minute so you can kind of see the ends, how they're open where we didn't glue or sew. See that end, how I froze it? You got that 2-inch section on both sides. There's one. And then here's the other one as I'm pulling it out. See, it's open right there. And we do that on purpose because now we're going to come in, we're going to kind of flatten out that end. And I just do like little 1/2 inch little slits, probably about 2 inches long. I cut 6 of them. You can cut as many slits as you want. In fact, this one gets a little thin, but that's okay. But you can see how I've got cute little slits. You can leave them like that if you want. You don't have to do anything else with them. Okay. But I left it open here so that we could tie them in little knots. You take 1 strip on each side, 1 strip of each side of the fabric, and then you just tie it into a little knot. Okay, 1/2 knot, and then tie it again, stretch it out because fleece stretches nicely, and then Bella's trying to eat me. And then tie another little knot, and so you do that all the way down. You take 1 little strip from each side of the fabric, tie a 1/2 knot, and then come in, stretch it out a little bit and tie another knot. And that just kind of brings your ends together and then gives it a little bit more personality. But again, you don't have to do that. You can just leave them hanging free if you want. Okay, and again, you don't have to do like we're doing here. If you want to just cut one fleece design, one design of fabric, 4 inches wide, 36 inches long, and just cut little slits in it, you're done. You don't have to do this whole thing that we're doing here, okay? When we're done tying our cute little knots, this is what it looks like. If you chose to go this route, make it double-sided. Now I'm going to switch gears and make some eyes, nose, mouth. And I got these little pom-poms. Now you could, and I got them from Joann's, you could just use pom-poms if you want. But in the picture, it looks like they used Sherpa material for the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. So what I did is I cut little fibers off scrap pieces of the black Sherpa, and I just glued it to the pom-pom to make it look like a Sherpa eye and a nose mouth. So here's what it looks like, kind of Sherpa-y with the little fabrics hanging off. That's what it's going to look like, because again, that's what it kind of looked like in the photo to me. Or you could just use pom-poms, or you could use buttons or beads, whatever you want to use normally, right? But I just thought it'd be fun. So I take my black and I hold it where the ugly side is down, and I take my scissors across the top and just, you know, give it a little haircut. And I get all these little fibers, and I only glue the top half of the little pom-pom. I add glue to the top half of the pom-pom and then squish the fibers onto the pom-pom. And I actually think it turns out cute. And I'm okay that it doesn't have like a carrot nose, which is funny for me because you'd think I'd want a carrot nose, but I'm kind of following the picture. And then, of course, I'm using the little white pom-poms because they're tinier, and so they'll be better for the eyes and for the little mouth. Okay, so I make 1 for the nose, 2 for the eyes, 5 for the mouth, and 2 bigger ones that's the size of the nose for a couple of buttons. Okay, so all my eyes, nose, mouth, buttons, whatever's done, and we're going to go ahead and start gluing our hat to the top of the head, and I'm going to glue it just a little bit off kilter, just because I think it gives it a fun little bit of personality. I'm using a lot of glue here. Now, I think this will be fine with just the glue, but I do go in and just add some stitches by hand with a needle and thread just to make sure. Isn't she cute? Little break as I hold the hat on the head to let the glue set up. Pet the little Bella, stretch her out. All right, she's cute. Anyway, so that's down there nice and good, and then I'm going to do needle and thread here, use some black thread, and I just like not very many stitches at all. I go pretty far apart, probably an inch apart, and just do some really quick, easy stitches around the head, mostly too because I'm not concerned that the glue is going to come off or anything like that or not hold, but I want the brim, the outer edge of the brim of the hat to be a little bit more sunk down into the head. Okay, because I put glue mostly toward the center because I didn't want any of the glue to come out around the edge of the hat, and you see that. So I want to stitch down around the outer edge of the hat. So like I said, that comes down a little bit more onto the head. Okay, this is just optional. You don't have to. A couple little knots here to finish it off and cut off the excess. Perfect. This is what we've got. And now we're going to get our snowman put together. We're going to glue the head to the body. You can see I'm using ample glue here. So whether you're doing it this way or the alternative way of making the snowman, it's time to get that head on. We want to make our snowman whole now. I do go in off camera and add some stitches with some white thread around the edges just because, you know, that was my preference. But also make sure if you do it this way with the pattern that you match up your lines there, okay? Match up the seams of your head to the seams of your body to make it look nice. Once that's all done, we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to tie my scarf on. I don't want to glue it because I thought, you know what if I want to change him out and I make a Christmas scarf so I can use him for Christmas, and then when Christmas is over, I can rip the other scarf off and I can put this winter scarf on. So I'm just kind of doing a little bit of a safety pin here to kind of hold the little knot closed because I don't really knot it. I just kind of fold it over. So using a safety pin to just kind of make it like this, and I'm putting my scarf a little bit off to the side. But again, you could glue your scarf on, but I didn't want to in case I wanted to use them at Christmas time as well. It gives me an option. Now I'm coming in and I'm gluing my little Sherpa pieces on. I've got my nose on first, and I put my scarf on first so that it would give me how much dimension I had left of the head to place my eyes, nose, and mouth, of course. And I'm kind of just making sure I pull the Sherpa apart as I put on each of the little pieces so that I can kind of really tuck them into the Sherpa. But I think it looks pretty darn close to the original. I'm glad how it came out. And again, I'm okay that it's not a carrot nose, but I kept thinking, do I want it a carrot nose? But I left it this way because it's fun. So we get our face put on, squish them in there, and then we're doing our 2 buttons here. Now you could choose 3 buttons, but I chose 2 buttons. Again, we're duping this right, even though sometimes I lindify it. I guess I did with the scarf, right? I lindify it because I made it a reversible scarf. Once I get this last button on, that makes this project complete. So let's take a look at our cost comparison. Our final cost came in at $9 versus $54.99. I think we did a great job. Let's move on to project number 2. For this project, we're going to be duping this winter greenery that comes in at $52.79 from Target for a whole lot less. So for this project, I have lots of these odds and ends, and some of these I actually bought on clearance for $2. It was a cute little bucket. I get to keep the bucket with all this greenery in it that I took it apart. Some of this is from Dollar Tree. Some of this has been in my stash for 3 or 4 years, but I just collected anything that kind of has a snowy look to it, and I'm sure all of you have like all these odds and ends and pieces of greeneries and things you can use. Now, I'm going to use this bucket. I actually got it as a Christmas present a few years ago, but you could use something like this from Dollar Tree that saves a whole lot less, but to me, the bucket was free because it was a gift. This would only be $1.25. Some of this black and white ribbon from Dollar Tree because it's perfect for a wintry look. And my thing I wanted to do here is I had to cut my styrofoam in half, and it's this really thick, the texture of it is really stiff, and I didn't want it to show down here at all, so I cut it in half so that I could use this Beacon quick grip and just kind of glue it to the top edge of it. And I actually, as I cut it in half, I cut it a little bit shorter so I have a little bit of a gap to allow me to get this up inside next to the other one, and then I'll just fill the space with more of this styrofoam. But yeah, I don't know what this is. It's really heavy duty thick stuff. So I get it in as far as I can, and I grab a skewer from the side and go in between the letters and help push it up, and then I let it set for about 10 minutes before I figure it's safe enough to stick greenery in it. So I change my view here a little bit. I'm a little off camera. I'll change it better in a little bit, and I just start with kind of taller stuff through the back. I am trying to sort of mimic the type of greenery and stuff that they had because I had a lot of it, so I knew that I could make it cheaper, in that photo from Target. And I'm trying to look at the picture to my left and kind of put it in the same arrangement because I definitely am not a flower arranger, and I thought they had it pretty good. There, now you can see it just a little bit better here, and taller things to the back, shorter things in front, and again, I like to pick things that are real snowy looking. But, if you add some things in that aren't snowy looking, that is good too, actually, because it just gives it, a nice look between snowy and non-snowy, of course. So you just keep loading your container that you want to use. Now, if you end up using the Dollar Tree container and you want it to say "Let It Snow," if you have an electronic cutting machine, you can cut that out in vinyl, or if you don't, but you want, a quote on the front, of course, like I said, "Let It Snow," you can use like a paint pen or something like that and draw it on by hand so that you have something on the front of the bucket for a little bit of decoration. Now, I thought I remembered having some of these, and they were actually in my thing for Goodwill because I'd had them for 5 or 6 years and just never used them, but I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to go pull those back out. But I thought the pom-poms, because they're already glittery, would give it that snowball look, so that was just something a little bit different that wasn't in the Target thing. And then, of course, I add the bow in at the front, and that makes this project complete. Now, Target's price came in at $52.79. My price came in at $8. That is quite a savings, of course. So I hope you enjoyed both of these projects today. It's a nice start to kind of get into our winter mode. We'll have a few videos out doing some winter themed ideas. I love creating for winter as much as I love creating for Christmas. I hope you found these simple to do and you create them for yourself, of course. If you walked in here for the first time, you're just checking things out and you're digging what you saw, make sure before you click off, you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on another video from me. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know which project was your favorite or which project you want to make right now. And please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps my channel to grow. Before I go, I'm going to leave you with one final thought. The name Emmanuel means God with us. God for us, God comforts us, He will never forsake us. Let's take it personal. Emmanuel, God with me, God for me, God comforts me, He will never forsake me. Lean in and find your peace with the one who is your rescuer, your deliverer, your peace, your mighty physician, your love, and whomever calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. For this new year, take a moment every day to reflect upon this mighty Savior of your heart. Believe in His name. Believe in the Son of God and know that He can do all things and will do all things for you. He is and will always be for you and never against you. He will guide you and give you peace. He has come to give you hope. Each and every day of this new year, reflect and give thanks to Him for calling your name and giving you life everlasting. Each and every day of this new year, reflect and find love in His holy name. Allow your heart to be open to His word and what He has for you in this life. By taking time with Him in this way each day, your life will be enriched with His power on high, and you will find that your strength increases with His grace, and His mercy will be new every morning. You will abide in Him as He abides in you. Each day you will experience all He has for you, and He will be enough for you as you find and receive the comfort that He has for your life. So each and every day of this new year, take a moment. Sit at the feet of Jesus and be willing to receive everything that He wants for you as you give Him everything you have to Him in return. Your heart, your mind, and your life will find so much more joy at the feet of your Emmanuel, your God with you. I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.